The role of the man is to shape reality around him and to shape reality of people close to him as well. I gave you Boba at 1 million market cap, 2 million market cap, 3 million market cap, 4 million market cap. I hope I have shaped your reality. And it's just one of the many calls. Dev AI that I was speaking about a week ago is already up 3x. But let's actually talk about 100x projects. How you can figure out and find out 100x projects by yourself. And the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about 100x is meme coins, because they are very well known for huge movements and people readiness just to throw funds into them. Of course, we also do have fundamental stuff, but I would say that in both cases, 100x, they don't happen overnight. You actually need to wait for some time. You actually need to form the thesis. You need to understand something before majority would actually understand it. And you need to be very careful with these things, because if you actually figured out something complex, there is a low chance that majority will understand something complex. Therefore, it should be an easy and very strong thesis that would be understandable for majority as well, because people need conviction in order to throw their funds into something. And they will not be forming conviction if something that you're trying to show them is very complex. Everything close to genius is actually easy. In this video, we will talk about 100x's. We will talk about several criteria of how you can actually find 100x's for yourself. I actually was able to find several of them already. And I think a couple more eventually will turn out to be 100x's as well. Let's talk on how you can actually find them, how you can actually form the thesis, how you should be holding them as well, and when you should be selling them too. I would also be going through my current positions that I have opened in terms of my longs, sharing thesis and conviction behind these tokens currently. Because 100x you can also get with leverage. And with leverage, to get 100x is way easier. Because you can be entering a 10x leverage position, token doing 10x, and you get your 100x. Of course, it's very risky. Of course, you might be losing all of your money, but with leverage, you can actually be doing 100x on proper tokens that are not ever going to show 100x's on spot. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let's actually start. Before we continue, I would like to remind that I'm actually giving away $300 in each video. In order to be eligible, you have to sign up as my referral on BitGet, you have to complete KYC and deposit at least $100. After that, you need to proceed to my Discord and fill out a very simple form in 2 steps. And after that, you will be eligible for daily giveaways in daily videos, and you would also be added into my VIP private Discord that's not going to stay free for a lot of time as well. Let's start. What is a 100x token? Usually a 100x token is something that you were able to form conviction on and actually research and actually form a narrative on way before the whole market actually understood that. That's why it's actually very hard, because a lot of people might be forming a lot of convictions on different tokens, right? But not a lot of them are turning out to be 100x's. Sometimes the thesis is not so strong. Sometimes it's just too complex. Sometimes something happens and things that you thought of the project or of the ecosystem or of the market makers or something else, they just don't work out. When you're trying to pick up a 100x token, you need to understand second, third, fourth order of consequences. You need to understand what would be happening in the future and why people would actually be buying into your token. You need to clearly understand and decide for yourself who is the person who would actually be buying your token, what is their portrait, why they would be doing that. And speaking about 100x, we always focus on memes in the first place. And I think you should ask yourself a question: why? Why do you think of memes in the first place? And what is it about memes that actually makes them easy 100x? I would give you a response. I would actually give you an answer. the thing that helps memes to be an easy 100x is actually the simplicity of the thesis and simplicity of the narratives. Memes are very, very easy to understand, and this is something you should be looking in your 100x's as well. If it's something complex, like the guys are developing their custom LLM models that are going to be decentralized and uncensored, and they will be trying to put them on the blockchain in a secure and safe way, using their internal development frameworks and mathematical equations based on the game theory. Sounds a bit complex, right? And you cannot expect a lot of people to understand what is actually happening there. Therefore, you cannot expect a lot of people to put their money into the project as well, because for people, in order to put money, they need to have conviction. They need to have something easy and simple to understand. That's why meme coins are actually so great. I see a picture of the frog, I understand I can put money into a picture of the frog. It's very, very easy to do, and I understand picture of the frog as well. It's a meme, it's funny. It's very, very straightforward value proposition. It's very, very straightforward what type of value this project is actually providing to the world. The main type of value is that it's funny through the meme, right? Therefore, it's very, very easy to buy into this thing. And previous example, I actually was speaking about the project called NQAI. That was calling on my channel back on the 1st of January. I publicly bought the project, and since then it actually has done more than 10x's. Very, very bullish narrative by itself. NQAI token and product that would be able to put decentralized ChatGPT on blockchain uncensored is the one that would run like crazy, just like crazy. I'm actually happy I have a position on this thing currently. I think it's around 10k at this level, so it's 7 million market cap in terms of the funds that I have. Maybe it would run to 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. We will see. If this thing would find product market fit, I definitely see that this is possible because the narrative for this thing is crazy. This is one explanation for this project. Let me actually provide you with a different explanation. They are putting uncensored ChatGPT on chain. It's way easier to understand right away, and you might actually become way more bullish on the project already, because you would understand that this is something that actually might be picked up by a larger audience as well. Because a lot of people, they're using ChatGPT, they're quite familiar with the interface, they're quite familiar how usable it is, what type of value it's actually providing, and uncensored ChatGPT is quite interesting as well. I can simplify it for you even more. They are building free for all ChatGPT without any limitations. So I basically just changed words decentralized and uncensored. I made them a little bit easier as well. And this is a thesis. This is a narrative that is already way easier to understand for the public as well. And I would think that most of the projects that you hold should know how to explain themselves in simple words. Because the more people the project may reach, the higher the chance some of these people would be buying into the project. So the more people the project can reach, the higher the chance these people actually would convert into the holders. Projects, they need to reach people in the first place, then they need to explain a thesis, the narrative, and explain to people why they are a great thing, why they are a great investment. It should be easy. And they should be able to reach a lot of people just by the way they're explaining themselves. And some of them would essentially be converted into the holders because they would be able to make a decision on entering the project based on the levels of conviction that they would essentially be forming. With the fact that they understand the narrative, it's simple and it's quite bullish by itself. There were a bunch of people who were predicting that someone will put a decentralized, uncensored LLM on chain this cycle, and it's going to be one of the most bullish projects because it's basically going to be uncensored, decentralized, not controlled by anyone, ChatGPT. It's just so crazy once this thing would actually be on the market. It might be second great implementation of crypto except exchanges, right? A real viable business model. So bullish, the whole narrative by itself. Let's see if actually the guys at NQAI would be able to do that, or maybe some other teams because I do believe there should be a bunch of teams working on the same thing, because narrative is just so bullish for public to enter into the whole thing. I'm not talking to you about AI coin for no reason. I'm mainly talking about AI project because today I was exposed to a very interesting thought. Influencers start to admit publicly that most of the projects in this space are basically vaporware. And some of them also said that most of the AI projects, 99% of them currently, are vaporware at this stage. But then there was a next thought saying that AI tokens and AI projects are actually meme coins because of the fact that most of them are vaporware. And despite the fact that I do understand that each and every project in crypto is a meme coin, some of them are VCs pump and dumps, some of them are scams, some people are actually trying to build something, but maybe they don't understand that in the bear market it's all going down to 0.99% anyway. It was a very interesting thought, and it all starts to make sense now, because with the search of BTC, the only two narratives that we see performing were AI and meme coins. And right now, once we understand that most of the AI projects, 99% of the AI projects are vaporware, they are meme coins, we can see and we can understand that we only have one performing narrative at this stage. And it's only meme coins, because AI is essentially a meme coin. And in both things that we're seeing surging currently, which are meme coins and Bitcoin, we also have presence of institutions. I would say they are one of the main drivers of this surge as well, because 30% of volumes in meme coins is actually coming from institutions.
30% of volume on meme coins now is institutionals.
Very interesting and fascinating situation, if you would ask me. Coming back to our 100x picks. When trying to pick a 100x token, you definitely need to focus on second, third, and fourth order of consequences. You need to think on the things that will be happening in the future and try to understand how things will be happening in the future and why this chain of events would actually result in your token pumping. There is an easy example with BRED token, long term of course. BRED token is largest Coinbase meme at this stage. Coinbase is Ethereum layer 2 chain, which is very bullish by itself right away. We have Dinkan update, we have Ethereum that should be surging way higher this cycle, with EigenLayer and all the things that are coming in terms of DeFi Ponzi's for this project as well, and all the innovation as well, because Ethereum also actually have innovation this cycle too, right? We do also have Coinbase, which is protected by institutions, because Coinbase is custodial for most of the ETFs. It basically helps institutions to hold Bitcoin that is being bought through ETFs. And at the same time, the fact that largest competitors of Coinbase are killed already, and this is the largest exchange that has been on the market for quite some time already and will be onboarding a bunch of retail users, and retail users with the highest purchasing power, people that live in the US. And obviously they would be interested to pump the blockchain of their exchange. We saw things like that happen with Binance Smart Chain, with BNB in the last cycle. And it's very interesting. And speaking about 100x, we do always think about 1 million tokens, 2 million tokens, 5 million tokens, 7 million market cap tokens, right? We do always think that in order to get 100x, we have to buy a low cap, right? But if you were buying BNB at 400 million market cap last cycle, you would have gotten 100x, because at the peak it was at $40 billion market cap. It's very interesting. People were betting on winning horses. Who was CZ? Speaking of Binance, obviously. So what do we have if we would want to form our 100x thesis, right? We have meme token, largest performing narrative outside of Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because institutions are already in the meme coins, right? We have Coinbase, largest exchange with the largest chain, with the largest amount of people who will be onboarded, retail, with the highest purchasing power in the world, because they're based in the US. We have results and we have outcomes of previous cycles with chains of different exchanges, of the large exchanges, just doing crazy multipliers, and tokens of these exchanges doing crazy multipliers. And obviously Coinbase would be very interested to push the token of the chain moving forward. On top of that, we have potential airdrop of Base token in 6 to 12 months from now, which should be very bullish for the whole space, which basically should just give people a lot of free money. And what people will be doing with a lot of free money? They will gamble. They will be gambling into a meme coin on the chain because it's very easy. You even just don't have to take this money somewhere else. On top of that, this meme coin has the narrative of the largest meme coin this cycle. New one, Pepe. I do believe Pepe is going to flip each and every meme coin that we have on the market currently. Yes, I'm speaking about SHIB, I'm speaking about Doge as well. This is a chain of thoughts, a chain of events that you should be thinking about when actually trying to find your next 100x. I can give you example with Wolf on AVAX. I'm not sure if it's going to be 100x because we have limitations from the point of view of AVAX liquidity and essentially how much liquidity would actually have on AVAX. 100x from here would put Wolf at 2.5 billion market cap, right? At the same time, if we would count from 10 million market cap from my call for Wolf a couple days ago, we would be seeing 1 billion market cap for Wolf. At the peak of the bull market, once Pepe will be flipping everything else, and once this narrative of Pepe characters will be picked up even better, when Brett will be doing well again after Coinbase airdrop, I do believe this might be happening for Wolf as well. Obviously depending on AVAX liquidity on chain, because the largest limitation for Wolf, I would say AVAX liquidity on chain. At the same time, it's one of these chains, one of the very small amount of chains that actually have a fund for meme tokens and are helping meme tokens to increase in value on chain as well, because they do understand, they're smart people, they do understand that meme tokens are the easiest way to bring people on chain and actually use the chain. What type of thought process we might have for Wolf, right? It's also a Pepe character from the original artist, Wolf. It's on AVAX, which is a great chain by itself. They actually survived from previous market, and I see that they are pivoting into having a product that is very usable for gaming. We have largest MMORPGs currently actually transitioning to AVAX, which is very bullish for the chain. We have a bunch of short-term catalysts for AVAX as well. We do understand that we might be seeing wave 3 for AVAX in this bull market quite soon, which would probably bring it at maybe $90 a token, $100 a token. Imagine what type of multipliers would actually Wolf do once this would be happening. And after this wave 3, we would be expecting wave 5, which should be blow off top, with AVAX essentially breaking previous all-time highs and just surging up like crazy as well. We do also have a very interesting narrative in connection to AVAX that when Solana is starting to correct, Solana people are often repositioning their profits into AVAX to kind of ride this profit game again. On top of that, as a catalyst of Wolf, we have event of potential correction on Brett that is happening already, because initial thesis for Brett is that the chain is going to receive a large airdrop and Coinbase, they're going to push the chain. Obviously, they would be doing that. And we have a high chance on the fact that we would actually be receiving airdrop. But at the same time, it's most likely not going to be happening any time soon. Therefore, I do expect capitulation due to time on Brett, and some of the people who actually made profits on Brett, they might be repositioning to Wolf, because it's the same narrative. It's also red meme on red chain, and there are a bunch of bullish things there. Support from one of the founders of AVAX, support from the foundation, narrative, and bullish, very bullish events for AVAX, and quite limited upside for the current largest meme on the chain, which is COG, and I do believe some of the profits from COG should be moving into AVAX as well. In order to actually be able to pick these 100x tokens, you would need to come up with chains of events like that by yourself. You would need to understand market very well, at least in one ecosystem, in connection to some catalysts that are actually going to happen in crypto. You probably would need to have a very nice understanding of the market, do a bunch of research on a daily basis, and understand how things are moving here. Best investors, they're like chess players. They're moving, they're thinking several moves ahead. And that's what helps them to position beforehand, before liquidity would eventually flow into their position. And then they essentially capitalize. And this is the highest chance to actually be making money in crypto, because it provides the largest outputs and largest results. When you are getting into something before everyone else would be actually able to understand that, but at the same time, it should be something simple as well. If you're getting into something too complex, there is a high chance that not a lot of people would understand it, therefore it would not be pumping as well, because people need conviction in order to be able to put their money into something, into some tokens, into some projects as well. Speaking of the open positions that I have open currently, I basically just wanted to go through all of them, because one of the ways you can get 100x is through actually doing this research, is through actually understanding what should be pumping and what should be surging moving forward, and position yourself beforehand. And second option is actually do similar thing but using leverage as well, because again, if you're using 10x leverage, you can get 100x from the token basically doing 10x. 10x for token in crypto is definitely way more doable than 100x. And in some cases, you might want to use 20x leverage on the token that would be doing a 5x, right? But it's very degen, and most likely you would get liquidated. So you should be very careful with this thing, but still we just have to go through a tool, and we have to understand the tool, and we have to understand how to use it as well. You can see my Pepe position. I have 64,000 profits that I took from the position already. I'm still plus $243,000 at this stage. Pepe is at around like 3.5-4 billion market cap. As mentioned, I do expect this meme to be at least 30 to 50 billion market cap, closer to the end of this bull cycle. Therefore, I do expect this position to 10 or 15x from here. So I do expect to see here from $2 to $4 million in profits from these levels basically. And the main reason for that is because Pepe has crazy community. It's already on the largest exchanges. Everyone knows about Pepe. It's a meme that's been on the internet for 20 plus years. Elon Musk is posting memes with Pepe essentially as well. I do think I would be doing very well with this position and with this thing as well. Next thing I have is Manta. I'm basically at around $21,000 position, and you can specifically see that my deal leverage price is very low. And the main reason for that is because I'm entering leverage positions with only 3x leverage in the first place. And once they surge up, I basically increase the leverage and I take out some of my margin without, it's very important, without actually negatively influencing my position. Because if you're taking some initials from spot, what you're usually doing is that you are decreasing your position as well. You're basically taking it out from your winners. But with leverage, once the position is surged up, what you can do is basically increase leverage and take some of the initial out, some of the margin out, which definitely helps. The reason I'm in Manta is because it has a very interesting narrative with zkSync rollups and things like that. At the same time, it's Ethereum layer 2. I'm bullish for Ethereum layer 2s in general because we have these DeMCAN updates and we have so many of them, and so many of them, they're just VCs pump and dumps. But I still believe we still have some time for peak euphoria for Ethereum layer 2s as well. There are a bunch of them, they're VCs pump and dumps, but I do understand the game and I'm willing to play the game as well. And for a lot of them, interesting thing is that circulating supply is very low at this stage. Therefore, it's very easy to pump the token, and most likely largest amount of this circulating supply is in the hands of the market maker. And there might be a chance that before larger unlocks, he would be pumping the price of these tokens essentially. If not, we still have the theory that VCs, they just put a bunch of money into these things and they would be definitely pumping them, and even large unlocks will most likely be distributed into the hands of the market maker to be able to manipulate the market better, because once he has larger supply of the token, it's easier for him to manipulate the price of the token out. I would actually probably increase my leverage here right after this video, and I would be putting some leverage into margin for Pepe as well, just to make sure I will be alright with my funding. Next thing is Pixel. The reason I actually loaned this thing is because it's a new token. It was down after the initial launch, after the initial TG event, right? And at the same time, it was trading sideways for quite some time. So I understood a very easy and interesting thing is that if token is trading at certain levels, that just means that people are still trying to dump, but someone is buying out this token. Most likely it's market maker, and most likely he's buying out these tokens to allow for manipulation and to push the price higher, because in order to push the price higher, he does not need to have any people that want to sell, to dump his price, and he also needs to hold a larger allocation of the supply of the token to spend less resources and less money on pumping the token up. Market price was definitely higher. I believe we were as high as 0.9, and I took $9,000 of profit out of this position. Currently I'm plus $15,000 still at this thing, and it's new token of this cycle. I do expect gaming to pump quite soon as well, so I'm just very confident and comfortable in this position as well. I might be taking a bit of margin out of here as well, but estimated the leverage price is not that low here as well. During the flash to $59,000, I almost got liquidated on this position. Sui. Sui is something I actually believe in a lot. I think this is the chain that this cycle might actually join Ethereum and Solana and be third chain for certain operations as well. There are not a bunch of memes on Sui, although we have things like FUD on Sui as well. And it should be, I think it should be doing very well. User experience is great, and there are some people who are trading meme coins and are throwing the profits into Sui. This is one of my positions that I have opened. I also have another position opened from 1.22 level. It also was consolidating for quite some time already. It was as high as 1.9 bucks, then it went to 1.19, and I do expect for this thing to actually start to move quite soon as well. And things that I'm showing you here, they might not be 100x's, because I'm basically entering them with 3x leverage. If I would be entering them with 5x leverage, for example, I would need them to do 20x. 20x on Sui is quite optimistic still. If I would be entering with 10x leverage, I would need Sui to just do 10x, and that, I would say, is definitely quite doable as well. But I think it's going to be very hard to actually be able to hold your 10x leverage position and not get liquidated as well. You would probably need to add a bunch of margin on top, and then it kind of removes the whole thing with entering this type of position as well. But it's definitely something very interesting. If, for example, you were entering Sui at the lows of the recent flash crash, like 119, 122, 125, even with 10x leverage, you are probably doing very well, and you would probably get 100x on Sui, because I do think that this project might actually do 10x in this run from these levels. It would just take quite some time, and you would have to pay funding fees for all this time as well. Last but not least is Arbitrum, only $3,000 at this stage. And I actually think that we are seeing huge manipulation on Arbitrum. I think Arbitrum will be surging like crazy quite soon. And I actually have other position on Arbitrum as well. And here is my second position on Arbitrum. The size of the position is pretty much the same. It's 3x leveraged position for $15,000 in the first place. 800 bucks have already been eaten by funding, but I'm very alright with that actually. And entry price is a little bit higher than essentially entry price with the previous position as well. I'm holding two of them, so I think in total my Arbitrum position is around $100,000 at this stage. You can basically get the same type of position with $10,000 and 10x leverage. And in my case, I'm using $30,000. So I'm definitely putting in a large amount of money, but at the same time, it's way safer because for Arbitrum to reach $1.4, that's very, very unrealistic. We should get a very, very deep correction in order for Arbitrum to actually be reaching something like that. So I think I'm quite comfortable with these type of positions, and once we would be surging higher, I would be just taking out margin, increasing the leverage as well, increasing my liquidation price at the same time, and I think doing very, very well with these positions as well. Arbitrum conservatively might be doing 5 to 6x's this cycle as well. And for example, if you're entering Arbitrum with 5x leverage and it's going to do a 5x, you're basically making a 25x on your money, which is not very, very bad if you would ask me. For the token of this size, you would not be able to do something like that on spot, and on spot, in order to get a 25x, you would probably need to buy something with 100 million market cap, 200 million market cap, so it's definitely a different story with this one. The only issue with Arbitrum doing 5x in this cycle is the fact that fully diluted valuation is at 20 billion market cap already, but we would see. We would see what might be happening with the largest layer 2, with the largest total value locked, with layer 3 solutions present on this layer 2 already. Some other things that I actually wanted to show as well, and these specific positions I was opening definitely earlier in the cycle as well. I think I was opening them around December, January. The first thing is Aptos. I have quite a small position on Aptos here. The size of the position is 21k. I was basically entering with $5,000 and 3x leverage as well. The reason for me behind entering Aptos was the fact that they have similar teams to Sui, and a lot of people were expecting Aptos to pump after Sui pump as well. So my entry price is $9 and current price for Aptos is $13 already. So I'm pretty much just comfortably holding this position. Maybe we will be getting these to 100k closer to the end of the cycle, but it's definitely something very, very small as well. But it's still quite interesting how with the leverage I was able to get exposure to $15,000 position to Aptos just with using 5k, and quite safe as well, because Aptos to go to 7.9, it's very hard essentially as well. My Sui loan with the position size of $67,000 at this stage, I was basically entering a $15,000 position with 3x leverage, which got me $45,000 exposure to Sui. I was not taking any profits here, and plus $16,000 at this stage. It definitely was higher as well, because I think it was as high as $30,000 to $35,000 just because of the fact Sui was 1.9. But you also have to remember, we're still not in the alt season yet. And these things in alt season, I expect from them to do excess from the current levels. Therefore, it's quite interesting. It's quite important from my point of view to be holding these type of positions at this stage. And last but not least is ApeCoin position that I was basically calling publicly on my Patreon, on my YouTube channel as well. I think I was entering it about 2 months ago. Initially it was $15,000 position with 3x margin. Definitely something very, very safe. When I'm looking back on these things, I would wish I would be entering with higher leverage as well. But obviously, when we are entering these things, we do not understand and we cannot see the future and we cannot see what would be happening next. Although currently thinking about that situation, it was quite obvious that a lot of the altcoins, they are at the very, very bottom, and a lot of them, they're still quite close to the bottom as well. I was taking out margin from this position, and my estimated leverage price is so crazy. It's so low. So I can even increase leverage here and basically take out even more margin from this position and free up my initials this way and do something else. At the same time, still holding this position. So with $15,000, I was able to get $45,000 exposure. This thing almost had done a 2x, and once it would be doing a 2x, I should have $45,000 in profit. And it was quite interesting that when I was entering ApeCoin position, I got a comment in my Patreon with guys saying that it's a dead token in a dead narrative, why you would want to be entering that. And my response is that VCs basically invested $500 million into this token. That's the only thing you have to know about these things. They invested $500 million. They would be planning to cash out on this thing as well. Maybe this is just going to be silent unlocks and they would be dumping into the market, but I would say they would not have enough liquidity to actually do that. And I would say it would be very, very short-sighted from the VCs to basically not use the opportunity of the bull market and push this thing up like crazy as well, because they need to create liquidity in order to take profits, because they're not taking profits on $500. They're taking profits on $500 million. Therefore, they need a lot of people actually wanting to buy into this token. Well, this is pretty much it. We discussed two methods on how you can be getting 100x. In the first place, you need to form a thesis, a narrative that is simple, that a lot of people should be understanding in some time from now, but for some reason they're not understanding it currently. Because not a lot of people on the marketplace, they're actually thinking about next steps, about second order of consequences, third order of consequences, fourth order of consequences. It's a very, very interesting game, but at the same time, it's a very, very risky one, because you might be just coming up with something too complex. And if it's something too complex, and if you have a bunch of your liquidity freezed up in too complex things, that means that you can just be sitting in the tokens that would be doing nothing through the whole bull market, which is crazy. You could have just bought meme tokens at the lows at the start and you would be making bank, you would be making 30x's. Like if you would be making 30x's if you were watching the first video on this channel back in December and buying Boba, where I am saying that Boba is going to be a highest performing asset in my portfolio. Very, very interesting, right? And the second option is to play with leverage as well. Now, it's a very risky game. Worst thing that might be happening to you is actually losing your funds in the bull market. It's worst thing like getting drained, getting liquidated, getting scammed. That's basically the worst thing that might be happening in the bull market to you. That's why I specifically showed you the strategy of me entering only 3x leverage positions. I'm definitely not getting a large exposure with these type of positions. I'm definitely not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, despite the fact actually on Pepe I actually did, right? And on Pepe I was entering a $20,000 long position margin with 3x leverage. So my exposure was $60,000, right? But still, this is something that you can be using yourself to have more exposure into the market with the current funds that you have. Because if you have $1,000, you can only have $1,000 exposure to the market. Therefore, you would most likely be looking to put them into something more risky, right? At the same time, if you would be using leverage, 3x leverage, 5x leverage, instead of $1,000 exposure, you will have a $3,000 exposure or $5,000 exposure to the market. And on top of that, you would most likely be working with larger tokens that are safer than some type of a low cap or some type of the meme coin as well. And now, let's gamble. We have 161 members, participants of giveaway currently. Again, I have more referrals. So if you're a referral and you would like to take part in giveaway as well, you need to fill out form in the Discord. The link into the Discord is in the first link under the comments. Random number generator 161, right? That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Generate 131. Very interesting. I think it's actually a simple number. All right. Congrats. You just won $100 with this ID, right? 106 you can divide by 2 and then you get 53, which is a simple number by itself as well. And last but not least, number 22. Very nice. 11 doubled. 11 times 2, 22 as well. Congrats to our winners. You should be receiving your funds quite soon. And we actually have a channel on our Discord, and only winners can actually write something there. So feel free to write something there if you received the money, and I don't know, if you would like to tell everyone how you would be planning to use them, if you would want to loan Pepe with 10x leverage, right? Not a financial recommendation. Thank you very much on watching this video, and good luck on your hunt with your 100x's. Main thing with them is holding. Holding proper blue chip projects that are your winners. If you have some projects that won already at this stage of the cycle, please don't sell them. I beg you, don't sell them. Don't reposition your profit, just hold. If they won already, they would be doing much more access, many more access moving forward. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.